Hi, it's Maija here. As you can see, I'm back at my regular apartment. The renovation is done. Most of my stuff is still all over the place. You can see that most of my books are still in storage boxes, so not on the shelf. But I thought I'd do a Friday reads video since that doesn't take a lot of effort in the midst of all this moving stuff and putting stuff back together. So what am I reading currently? I am reading for Space Opera September. I am reading Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. I'm now about exactly halfway through the book. I am enjoying it so far, but I find some of the writing to be overly dramatic and some of the characters to be annoying. But I am still interested to see where this goes. And the format is very easy to read, so I will finish it this week. Space Opera September was for the whole month, hence the name. I have only this left from my TBR. I didn't get to Behind the Throne by KB Wagers, and I don't think I will get to that. But otherwise, I've read everything from my TBR, and I plan to finish this. On Instagram, I noticed that Frankie from Frankie Reads was doing a reread of Courtney Crumrin this week, and I decided to tag along since that is my favorite comic book series, or one of my favorites, and that is by Ted Naifeh, and the first volume is Courtney Crumrin and the Knife Things. I'm actually filming this on Thursday, so I will have finished this volume when you see this video, and I have most probably started volume 2. I think Frankie was planning to read the whole series this week, and I am trying to catch up because I've been reading it a bit more slow, but this one is my favorite out of the volume, so I am really looking forward to getting to this one. Oh, and what is this series about? It's a middle grade fantasy series about this young girl who moves in with her mom and dad. Her family moves in with her great uncle Aloysius. He happens to be a warlock, and Courtney starts to dabble in magic herself. This is like a goblin market, a lot of elves, a lot of wizards, witches. I love it. On my Kindle, I'm reading Experimental Film by Pajama Files, which is a horror book about horror movies set in Canada. And I am 18% of the way through this. I've been quite slowly reading it. I started a couple of months ago. I read a couple of chapters, but then I actually restarted this a few days ago. Also yesterday, when I couldn't get to sleep and I wanted to read something bit more mellow than what I was in the middle of, I started So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane Duane, which is a middle grade fantasy series, and I read 10% of that like at 2 a.m. or something like that. I was actually planning to read Carmen Machado's Her Body and Other Parties, a collection of short stories. I think you can say they're horror, but I had started also this one yesterday, but it was a bit too intense to read at 2 a.m. So I read So You Want to Be a Wizard instead. So I also started that, and I started this. Also, there's a comic that needs to go back to the library on Friday, so when you see this, so I should read it today on Thursday. That is Blackbird Volume 1, The Great Beast by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel. And this was one of my most anticipated science fiction and fantasy comics. This one is an urban fantasy set in Los Angeles. Here's a page from near the beginning of the first issue. So this will be my priority for today, as well as finishing the Night Things and leaving my messages to Frankie as to what I thought of this time around, and then getting to volume 2. I also want to finish the first story from Carmen Machado's Her Body and Other Parties, because I don't feel good being like in the middle of one short story. So that is what I'm focusing on for today, and then for the rest of the week my focus will be on finishing Illuminae so that I can get my Space Opera September challenges done. So here is all that I'm currently reading. It's quite a lot of stuff, but you know, sometimes you just have to start every single book. But I will get back to unpacking now. Let me know what you are currently reading, and I'll see you in my next video.